I want to talk a little bit about the age and cognitive sort of fallout of this election. At the end of the day, the oldest major party presidential nominee with the very obvious cognitive and linguistic decline, Donald Trump, won. Now, I'm not going to rehash the reasons Trump won and the reasons Harris lost, because we did that earlier. And that includes, at the end of the day, tens of millions of Americans just like what Trump was offering. And we talked about all that already. But what I do want to point to is that I guess Biden wasn't really too old after all. Now, I don't mean if Biden had stayed in, he would have won. What I mean is that the attacks on Biden's brain and the attacks on Biden's age were not considered with the same seriousness by those voting for Donald Trump. As I told you last week, a linguistic analysis found that while Joe Biden's communication has declined over the last 8 years, Trump's has declined significantly more, and Harris, who's 20 years younger than Trump and Biden, has had no decline in her speech patterns. And yet we were told Biden's simply too old and his brain's not working. Trump, who is clearly experiencing more of that exact same, won by a larger margin, including the popular vote, something he failed to do in 2016 and 2020. So it was never really about that. And I think we have to come to grips with the fact that in the same vein as I told you, a lot of people just want the old white wannabe dictator man over the black woman. That's the case for some people. Similarly, they don't really want the energetic candidate. They don't really want the younger candidate. They don't really want the candidate whose brain is functioning and remembers who she's running against and who was running in 2020 and who was running in 2016 and who's the president right now. They don't really care about a candidate that actually knows those things because they voted for the guy who regularly forgets all of that stuff. So it's just another reminder that Biden did something that's difficult to do. People came to him. They said, "We don't believe that you can win." He got out, and supposedly it was still going to be evaluated on the merits. Are you too old to run? Trump. Is Trump's brain working well enough to be president? The answer seems to be no, but they don't actually care about that. And this is why they sometimes continue to win, because they will use these weapons asymmetrically and not apply them to their own candidate. We knew that. This is simply proof. Many of us loved eating breakfast cereals as kids, but now that we're adults, you don't want all the sugar and the carbs, which is why I love our sponsor, Magic Spoon, the nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like your favorite sugary cereals from childhood, but without the sugar and packed with protein. Every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. The most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa, but there are many more. And if you're already a fan of Magic Spoon, I have big news. Magic Spoon has turned their super popular cereal into high protein treats that are light, crispy, and crunchy and taste just like the classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon treats have become a favorite go-to snack because it's an easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. And for the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/Pacman or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. The link is in the description.